avenues that everyone would live exactly the same. It may be a part of it. It's very easy to go, well, actually, if you live in a heavily built up area where you don't have much green space, there aren't any trees or shrubbery on roads, then air pollution could be a bigger problem than if actually your house is set back much further. There's a barrier of green in between the road and your house. So you can kind of see, and air pollution kind of like has negative impact on health. So you can see how it would have an impact on your health, how much green space there is, never mind the kind of like, is it restful, Claudia, if you can go somewhere that is greener. But this study isn't the one that tells us that.
Very interesting. Well, thank you very much, James Gallagher, for joining us today. Do come back to Health Check on the BBC soon. And thanks to the producer, Paula McGrath, and our studio engineer today, Sarah Hockley. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Claudia Hammond. And do join me next week when we'll be taking a look at the latest research on long COVID through the eyes of an immunologist and a patient. Bye for now.
This is the BBC World Service, investigating the covert war between Iran and Israel.
It's a conflict that's been going on for decades.
Iranians oppose displacing millions of citizens of Palestine.
They want to destroy the only Jewish state in the world. We will never let that happen.
Is this a dangerous game of brinkmanship?
Out of the Shadows, Saturday at 11 GMT. At 9:50 GMT, Sporting Witness.
Today we're going back to 1999, when the Baltimore Orioles became the first American Major League team to play in Cuba for more than 40 years.
The Forum is next. This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Hello, I'm Bridget Kendall, and today on the Forum, after the BBC News, we take a look at the longest reigning sultan of the Ottoman Empire, an empire that controlled much of Southeast Europe, Western Asia and Northern Africa between the 14th and early 20th centuries. Known as Suleiman the Magnificent, he ruled for over 40 years during the 16th century, conquering lands in the Middle East and Mediterranean and challenging the Holy Roman Empire in Europe. His reign is often hailed as the peak of the Ottoman Empire's power. So what made Suleiman the Magnificent so successful? How much of his might and influence was inherited, and how much was his own doing? Join me and my guests for the Forum on Suleiman the Magnificent, coming up after the BBC News.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. For the first time since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, energy restrictions are being introduced across the country after Moscow targeted its power plants. People have been urged to avoid using appliances that consume a lot of energy and ensure they have batteries in torches. It follows several days of drone and missile attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. From Kiev, here's Hugo Bashega.
President Zelensky said this week that a third of the country's power stations had been destroyed. 3 more power stations were attacked yesterday, and officials have been saying that it is going to take some time before the damage is repaired, and they've been warning Ukrainians of a tough winter ahead. And I can tell you that the temperatures have dropped quite considerably in the last few days, so it really shows how concerning the situation is as these attacks continue ahead of winter.
There's been a sharp rise in the deaths of severely malnourished children in Ethiopia's Tigray region as the civil war there escalates. Communications with Tigray are restricted, but the BBC's examined statistics held by the Tigrayan authorities. Catherine Biarahanga reports.
According to the official Tigray Health Bureau, the deaths of severely malnourished children have risen sharply since the war began in late 2020. In the 3 years before the conflict, a total of 508 severely malnourished children died, but by last year that number stood at over 1,900 and nearly 2,500 this year. Doctors believe the true figure is higher because most sick children do not get to hospital due to the conflict and a lack of fuel for transport.
Violent clashes have erupted in Chad between police and protesters in the capital N'Djamena. Reports say there have been a number of fatalities and that dozens of people have been injured. The demonstrations are against Chad's transitional military government, with protesters calling for a return to civilian rule. The British Prime Minister Liz Truss is fighting for her political survival after the departure of a second senior minister and chaotic scenes in Parliament. There were reports on Wednesday that members of her Conservative Party had been manhandled into supporting a government vote in Parliament. UK borrowing costs have soared since Ms Truss took office, unveiling a now abandoned programme of vast unfunded tax cuts. Crispin Blunt is one of the Conservative MPs now openly calling for her to step down.
It ought to have been clear that she did not have the capacity to lead our party, and I don't think she should have put herself up for the leadership in the first place. All of that has now been confirmed. It's plain what is required. We need to effect a change, frankly, today in order to stop this shambles and give our country the governance it needs under our constitution.
World News from the BBC. Parts of the Chinese capital Beijing, which is hosting an important Communist Party meeting, are being placed under COVID lockdown. The move underscores comments made by China's leader Xi Jinping at the opening of the party gathering on Sunday. He said there'd be no change to the country's zero-COVID strategy. China has defended its combative approach to foreign policy that's become known as wolf warrior diplomacy. In Britain, a senior Chinese diplomat has just given a vivid example of this more assertive attitude. Michael Bristow reports.
Under Xi Jinping, China has abandoned its previous low-profile strategy and become more forceful in international affairs. The Vice Foreign Minister Ma Jiaoshu said Beijing would continue with what he called a fighting spirit to protect the nation's dignity. That approach has been on display in Britain, where China's Consul General has just defended his decision to get involved in a brawl outside his office in the city of Manchester. A photograph showed him pulling a demonstrator's hair. He said it was his duty to get involved because protesters were abusing his country.
A report by a Pakistani think tank says the number of militant attacks in the country has increased by more than 50% since the Taliban seized power in neighbouring Afghanistan. The Pak Institute for Peace Studies said more than 400 people have been killed in the country since August last year, when the Taliban took Kabul following the withdrawal of US-led international forces. There are signs that the strikes which have caused petrol shortages across France could be coming to an end. Staff had walked out at oil refineries and depots throughout the country, leaving drivers unable to fill their tanks or facing long queues when supplies did arrive. But workers at several sites have now voted to go back to work, despite their trade union insisting that industrial action should continue. BBC News.
In the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. in the United States is a chamber where members of the U.S. Congress meet to debate and pass federal law. Around the walls of the gallery above the chamber are 23 marble relief sculptures.
The crowdfunding is part of it. It's a really important part of because we want to bring on the public. Lots of my friends, family, and people over the years said, "Can we invest in your business?" So I wanted to do crowdfunding to let those people in. I floated and was one of the people that built Harvey's Lansdowne out and took that through to the float. And so we wanted to allow people, the public, to invest before we floated the company. So, and the point was, we've also got lots of very wealthy, successful people who've also invested in the business alongside the crowd.
It's quite interesting, though, that you've adopted this approach. I mean, there must be any number of VC backers who'd be interested in lending support to you, providing capital, or you could even go for an IPO.
I think that we've just had so much support from high net worth individuals. We haven't need to go to the VCs yet. And the amount we're raising, 15 million for this round, we intend on doing that probably later on. But again, we've just had so much support already. Just haven't felt we need to go to VCs yet. It gives us maybe more flexibility to run a more aggressive growth strategy. But I've invested a lot of my own wealth, so protecting my capital has been really important, but also growing at a sensible rate. So it's very different to like a normal VC-backed business where the person's not putting in their own money. I've invested a lot of my own wealth into the company.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of the money that you raise here, I gather this is going towards European expansion. What are the markets that you're targeting?
France, Spain, those are the two at the moment. France now is our biggest market. The UK has been late legalising scooters. I'm working with the government. It's going to come soon, which is just, then the UK will just take off massively. But at the moment, France is our biggest market, and we're just expanding. We had the biggest retailer of electric scooters approach us, and we're now in 150, 170 shops in France where we're the sort of their prime scooter they sell. So it's just growing across Europe. It's really big, and it's just frustrating in the UK it hasn't been legalised, because across Europe our scooters are legal, in the UK they're still not.
Absolutely. I mean, what about the competitive landscape in Europe? I mean, for example, Bird, which is one of the big US players in the market, has just pulled out of loads of European markets.
Maybe they're pulling out because of us. Fundamentally, people want to... sorry, but probably true, a little bit. People want to own their own scooters. People in the past have owned their own cars. The future is scooters, not cars. But fundamentally, people want to own their own. They want to go door to door. If you've got to go half a mile to find your rental scooter and then it's out of charge, that's not ideal. So what we believe is, and what's happening across the whole of the rest of the world, is people are swapping to owning the scooters themselves so they can take it home, go from their home. It just cuts a lot of time. It's better than going on a bus because you don't have to wait for the bus stop. It's faster than travelling across the city in a car, and you don't get sweaty like if you're riding a bicycle. I genuinely think...
Sorry, Adam, I was going to ask you, earlier this year you pulled out of e-bikes, which you were also in, to focus exclusively on e-scooters. Why was that?
Because we were just getting requests from around the globe. The bike industry is very competitive, and some of our early investors into our company have been from the bicycle industry. Across the world, the problem is people don't have room to store a bicycle either at work or at home. The scooter is smaller, therefore it's the storage is the reason why they're overtaking. So in France now, there's more electric scooters being sold than electric bikes. And we were just getting requests from across the globe, can we sell your e-scooters? So we thought, double down. My mission is to help reduce pollution in the globe and do something really big and important for this planet. And we felt scooters is the way to do that, not through e-bikes. It's the storage that people have is the problem with electric bikes. And that's what we found. We started selling them, they were good, but scooters were just a massively better product than the electric bike.
All right, Adam, there's loads more I want to ask you, but unfortunately we're out of time. Do come and see us again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Some other business news stories for you now. And Tesla admitted last night that it will miss its vehicle delivery target this year as a result of ongoing supply chain challenges. But the electric car maker dismissed concerns that it's facing a drop in demand due to higher prices and lower disposable incomes among consumers. Well, Elon Musk, the chief executive, said, "I wouldn't say we're recession-proof, but we're recession-resilient." Well, Tesla reported sales of $21.5 billion, which was a quarterly record for the 3 months to the end of September. That was up 56% on the same period last year. Shares of Tesla, which have fallen by 37% since the beginning of the year, were down 6% in after-hours trading. The FTSE 100 data and information provider RELX said today that its full-year sales and profits growth were on course to beat their historic average. The company, which provides analytics and decision tools for professional and business customers in the risk, scientific, technical, medical, legal and exhibition sectors, said underlying sales in the first 9 months of the year were up 9% on the same period last year. RELX, which owns the LexisNexis legal information business, said sales growth was strongest in its scientific, technical and medical business. Travis Perkins said this morning that demand from larger repair and maintenance contractors was holding up well despite the challenging market backdrop. The UK's largest distributor of building materials, which also owns the Toolstation and BSS businesses, said total sales during the 3 months to the end of September were up 10.7% and were up 7.4% on a like-for-like basis, which is the measure that strips out the impact of new openings and store refurbishments. Nick Roberts, the chief executive, said Toolstation remained on track to roll out around 80 new branches this year, split equally across the UK and Europe. And the wealth manager St James's Place has reported net inflows of £2.19 billion during the 3 months to the end of September. That was down 15% on the same period last year, when households had larger amounts of savings to deploy following the lockdowns. Well, Andrew Croft, the chief executive, said it was a strong performance in a challenging environment. Funds under management fell by 3%, reflecting declines in the stock market. Well, the news comes a day after a host of wealth and asset managers, including Man Group, Lion Trust, Rathbones and Quilter, reported a combined drop of £8.75 billion in the assets they manage. Now, gene therapy is often touted as a potential game changer in the treatment of currently uncurable diseases, such as Alzheimer's and some cancers. Well, this morning, a state-of-the-art cell and gene therapy manufacturing plant has opened its doors in Alderley Park, near Macclesfield in Cheshire. The company behind it is the US contract research giant Charles River Laboratories. Well, joining me now is Neil Dinwoody. He's Executive Director of Gene Manufacturing for Europe at Charles River, and Matthew Durdy. He's Chief Executive of Cell and Gene Therapy Catapult. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Neil, let me start with you. I mean, this is a 16,000 square foot facility. How much has it cost to build?
It's approximately $9 million to build this facility. It's the first stage of significant expansion of our business in this area.
And this is going to be producing something called plasmid DNA. You'd better explain for the uninitiated what that is.
Okay, plasmid DNA is a genetic material, so it can be used to fix genetic defects within the human body, but also as a mechanism to generate an immune response, either to viral particles such as the COVID virus, or potentially to treat tumor cells as well, by targeting the receptors on that tumour cell itself. So a wide range of applications, still very much in the early development stage with over 1,000 clinical trials in progress at the moment.
OK, gentlemen, stay with us, please. We're going to have to interrupt this conversation because we're going to hear from Sir Keir Starmer, who's speaking at the TUC conference in Brighton.
Back on. Can I just say, watching that video and hearing the words of the reps there was really moving, I think, a real reminder of the importance of the trade union movement. But look, before I go any further, I want to say thank you to the General Secretary, my friend, a giant of the Labour movement, Francis. On the side of workers, on the side of women, on the side of Arsenal, Francis is always on the right side. But Congress, especially during the pandemic, where her determination to fight for working people was an inspiration to all of us. Congress, never forget, it was Francis who led the employers and the government to the furlough scheme. A tripartite deal for those troubled times, a true collective agreement for the nation. Without her deal, 10 million workers would have been jobless during a monumental social crisis. And my Labour Party supported it every step of the way, including on the many occasions the government wanted to scrap it prematurely. We will never forget that leadership, Francis. Thank you for that. And thank you to Paul too. The organising you did to keep workers safe during the crisis saved countless lives. I know how much our movement is in your blood. I also know that you're an Everton fan. So as the TUC moves from red to blue, I look forward to working with you as Britain moves in the opposite direction. Congress, today I want to set out what's at stake for Britain. Because while politics is always about choices, the choice now is as stark as it gets. We face a battle for the soul of our country, who we are, who we're for. The Labour choice is a Britain that is fairer, greener and more dynamic. A Britain where we rebuild our public services to provide opportunity and security. Tackle the climate emergency head on. Use it to create jobs and industries of the future. Restore faith in politics as a force for good. Get Britain's hope, its confidence, and its future back. But the first step, the foundation that all this rests on, is respect for the working people who create the wealth that drives our country forward. It's not just the privileged few who grow Britain's economy. The Tories are so wrong about that. It's the cleaners, carers, nurses, teachers, engineers, physios, scientists, shop workers, drivers, builders, bartenders, teaching assistants, technicians, cooks, warehouse workers, posties, farmers, small business owners. Who grows our economy? Who's growth for? The right choice, the only choice, the Labour choice, is working people. And my government will be dedicated to building an economy that works for working people. And everything else flows from this. And Britain knows exactly where the Tories stand. They can dance around a U-turn. They can sack this Chancellor or the Prime Minister. But the damage is done, and they did it. They crashed the British economy. And for what? To show they were on the side of the richest 1%. A crisis made in Downing Street without a democratic mandate, paid for by working people in higher bills, higher rents, and higher mortgages. This is who they are. These are their true colours. Never again can Britain take seriously their claim to be a party of aspiration or sound money. But Congress, last night in Parliament, even by their standards, a new chaotic low. All the failures of the past 12 years have now come to the boil. The victims of crime who can't get justice. People dying because ambulances can't get there in time. Millions going without food or heating. And none of it can drum into the Tories the idea that our country must come first. They lack the basic patriotic duty to keep the British people out of their own pathetic squabbles. And it's wrecked the finances of our country and for millions of people. This cannot continue. Britain deserves better. Britain cannot afford the chaos of the Conservatives anymore. We need a general election now. Congress, just look at their latest plan to get our country out of the hole that they dug. They turn to austerity. They turn to you, to your members and their rights. Congress, I'm sure you've heard that tape, how the Prime Minister thinks that working people lack skill and application. Heard her say that your members don't graft hard enough. It's delusional. It's insulting. But it comes with a warning. Because look around the country. A national emergency on the cost of living, public services on their knees, working people grafting every minute of the day, still unable to make ends meet. And ask yourself this. With that warped logic in charge, what happens when the Tories finally see the full reality of what they've done? I'll tell you. They'll lash out, double down, attack my party, our movement, and your members. So, Congress, let me stand here and spell this out. If they bring forward further restrictions on workers' rights or the right to strike, we will oppose and we will repeal. conference just as we will tear up anti-trade union legislation such as the Trade Union Act 2016. Absolutely. But we also need to be prepared, disciplined, relentlessly focused on the future. Meet their attacks with hope. Provide the leadership this country so desperately needs. And build a Britain where working people can succeed again. Where working people are backed as the people who really create economic growth. That's the Labour choice. And that's not just words. I don't come from a privileged background. I grew up in a Pebble Dash semi in the 1970s. I remember what the anxiety of rising prices feels like. Remember when our phone was cut off because we couldn't pay the bill. And I know what that anxiety looks like now. Let me tell you about a care worker I know. She works 14-hour shifts, often overnight, never flinching at the relentless pressures put upon her. And every week, yes, every week, she struggles to make ends meet. Congress, that care worker, is my sister. And when I think about the work that she and millions like her did for our country during the pandemic, risking their health to save lives on low pay, low security contracts, and the Prime Minister says that the problem is people like my sister lack graft. Let me spell it out. The fight for fair pay, the fight for good work, the fight to make our economy work for everyone, not just a privileged few, is personal for me. And I will not rest until we see a Britain based on those values. That's the Labour choice. If you don't back people like my sister, don't be surprised if you get 12 years of stagnant growth. That's why we backed working people on rising energy prices. When the Prime Minister argued against handouts, Labour provided the clarity the nation needed. We said, this winter, not a penny more on anyone's bills, and we'd make sure the oil and gas companies pay their fair share. And I'll tell you something else, we'd abolish non-dom status to get our NHS back on its feet. That's the main barrier to capacity right now, staff. So we would invest in more doctors, more nurses, more health visitors. A tax break for some of our richest in our society, or a stronger NHS workforce. That is not a hard choice for us. But to end this cost of living crisis once and for all, we also need a long-term plan. A plan that will deliver cheaper bills and higher energy standards for working people. Growth and jobs in all parts of the country. And real independence from tyrants like Putin, who weaponize fossil fuel exports and threaten our security. That's what our Green Prosperity Plan will achieve. 100% clean power by 2030. Investment in wind, solar, nuclear, hydrogen, green steel and carbon capture. Training for plumbers, electricians, engineers, software designers, technicians, builders. A national sovereign wealth fund that generates growth and private investment. Insulation for 19 million homes. And Great British Energy, a publicly owned company that takes advantage of the opportunities in clean British power and turns them into good, secure, high-paid British jobs. The argument for our plan is simple. Green energy is already cheaper than fossil fuels, 9 times cheaper. Working people need more of it. Britain needs to own it. And the jobs and growth we generate must be shared with every community. That's the Labour choice. It's why I've always said we'll fight the Tories on economic growth. The Prime Minister is completely out of touch with the reality of the British economy. She thinks workers' rights and collective bargaining are a barrier to growth. She doesn't care about the distribution of wealth in Britain. She hasn't U-turned on that. Now, it's a clear argument, I'll give her that. But it's one we've heard before. And it doesn't work. Working people will not be better off because we make the rich richer. It's pure dogma. The world has moved on from these discredited ideas. And every day the Tories stick to them is another nail in the coffin of Britain's economic credibility. Our real problem is we create too many jobs that are low paid and insecure. We lock too many communities out of the wealth that we create. And our public services aren't strong enough to help working people succeed. That's why we struggle to grow. Our economic foundations are too weak. And the Tory argument is, that's fine. If the City of London races ahead and the rest of Britain stagnates, they think that's okay. Congress, forget about lines on a graph. If you leave this many people behind, a nation will not grow fairly. You can't do it with low wages. You can't do it with insecure jobs and bad work. And you can't do it without a modern industrial strategy. This isn't a debate. The evidence is in. A vicious cycle of stagnation. That's how the now former Chancellor called it. And on this one thing, he was right. 12 years of Tory stagnation have left the average British family £8,800 poorer than other advanced economies. Economies like France, Germany, and the Netherlands. Economies that do have stronger collective bargaining, do have stronger workers' rights, do have a fairer share of wealth across their country. These things are not a barrier to growth or higher productivity. They go hand in hand with it. That's the Labour choice. So we will strengthen the role of trade unions in our society. And an economy that is strong for working people can't weaken the institutions that give working people strength. And it cannot be built on insecure foundations. Security at work is the bedrock for aspiration and opportunity, for giving people the confidence to get on. Nobody does their best if they're racked by fear about the future, if their contract gives them no protection to stand up for their rights at work, or if proper safety net doesn't support them in times of sickness and poor health. That's what Labour's New Deal for working people is all about. That's why we'll end fire and rehire, ban zero-hour contracts, extend parental leave, strengthen flexible working, better protection for pregnant women, mandatory reporting on ethnicity pay gaps, statutory sick pay for all, a single worker status, no more one-sided flexibility. And Congress, so far as I'm concerned, that's not just a list of rights. It's a statement of intent on social justice, on fairness, whose side we're on. More security for every worker in our country. And because of that, a stronger foundation for working people to aspire and get on. That's the economic dynamism Britain needs. That's how you get growth. That's the Labour choice. A choice that provides the basis for true social partnerships. A modern industrial strategy where we unite to tackle the country's challenges on behalf of working people. I will say this here. I'm not just pro-business. I want to partner with business to drive Britain forward. And I'll say the same about trade unions to the CBI. You saw the deal Francis struck during the pandemic. The results speak for themselves. It's a model Mark Drakeford had used successfully in Wales. And it can work, because the vast majority of business leaders don't buy into the Tory trickle-down fantasy. They're not knocking on my door saying they want to rip up employee rights. They don't tell me the problems that they face.
We're pulling away from Sir Keir Starmer's speech to the CUC conference to take to the House of Commons, where the Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper is asking an urgent question following the departure of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary last night. Let's listen in.
Contravention of the Ministerial Code relating to a breach of Cabinet confidentiality and the rules relating to the security of government business. The Prime Minister has made clear the importance of maintaining high standards in public life and her expectation that ministers should uphold these standards as set out in the Ministerial Code. All ministers are personally responsible for deciding how to act and conduct themselves in the light of the Code and for justifying their actions and conduct to Parliament and the public. However, ministers only remain in office so long as they retain the confidence of the Prime Minister. She is the ultimate judge of the standards of behaviour expected of a minister and the appropriate consequences of a breach of those standards. My right honourable friend has explained her decision to resign, and to be clear, the information that was circulated was subject to Cabinet confidentiality and under live discussion within the government. In light of this, it would not be appropriate to discuss the specifics of the matter further in the House, but the Prime Minister is clear that the security of government business is paramount.
Sendwave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use Sendwave? Sendwave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about Sendwave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clements, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business that you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
A written ministerial statement that was due to be published imminently and had already been briefed to MPs.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prom Prom, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Centre of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Body is your man. Show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for hope. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
This on is Starr Radio
UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
Once again, this is not my policy area. I'm sure the secretary will highlight this, but I would also reassure my honourable friend that
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Which is why she took the decision to resign.
SNP spoke.
Welcome.
Let's begin the idea that this Conservative government are somehow avid followers of the ministerial code is for the birds. What was the real reason for the Home Secretary's abrupt departure? And was it the case that she refused to implement immigration policies that were aimed at hitting...
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Okay, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Let me say once again, sincere apologies for the late start of the program. It's not a late start of the program, but because we wanted you to capture what the leader of the opposition party here in the UK, the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, was saying in the conference and what was going on in the House of Parliament, and that's why we had to allow you to have all. But wherever you are, once again, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you. Welcome on board. Let me say good morning to my team, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, my brother Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. Amaya, good morning to you, Anthony Adedaji. Miss Gold all the way in the UAE, massive good morning. Aziz, good morning. Sam Maxwell, good morning to you. And to all and sundry, we want to welcome you to the Thursday edition of the morning show. Time for the trade the time, the 20th day of October, the year 2022.
I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Okay, so for those of you who have tuned in for the first time, this is how the program goes. I'll be bringing you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit and the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then from thence, I will continue to have a look at some of the stories that is making the rounds in Nigeria, known as updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi. We'll continue from thence and have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. Then at 1 o'clock, the curtains are brought down. But while the program is going on, while the lines are not even open or activated yet, you can just post your comments on all our social media platforms. And I promise you one thing for sure, I'm going to read that. So once again, I say welcome to the show. Now the quote for the day says, engage in a personal development program, pay the required price to reach your maximum potential, and willing to share your success with others, particularly the less privileged in society. The question is, what footprints are you leaving? What are you doing for the rest of society? How can they say, this man, he was around, he did good. So do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. That is something good that you are doing, aren't you? Alright then. To the weather front, this morning has been quite a rainy morning here, but the detail is it will turn increasingly dry and sunny through the afternoon as rain and cloud clear northwards. A few showers will linger in places. It's going to be feeling mild. A patchy cloud and clear spells this evening with an odd patch of mist and fog developing. It's going to be turning cloudier again towards dawn, however, as a few sharp showers move in from the southwest. When it comes to the temperature is going to be 17 degrees. The lowest is going to be 11 degrees. UV level is going to be low, pollution low. Sunset 17:57 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:32 hours. So coming away from Starr Radio UK. Straight to the travel updates. Don't you worry. Yes, I hope that you enjoyed that tune. More music will be coming your way during the course of the program, but let's crack on.
We do not live in a presidential system, and of course it is up to this government to command the confidence of this house, which is
okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, so keep it navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio travel update. I can't see where we weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:47. How is your travels like? Share it with us wherever you are, because we are a worldwide radio station, and whatever we do is shared across the globe. It will benefit somebody. Yeah, good. Okay, so on the underground this morning, yes, good service throughout. If you are embarking on any journey via that, London Overground, DLR and London Tramlink have all got good service. Now let's move on to the major roads in London. Let me tell you what is happening there. A4, A40, A41, Central London Red Route, South Circular A205 have got projects, so please check before you leave. Now A21 and A3 has got serious delays, so if you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them. If not, continue to be get stuck in there and we'll guide you. But keep your eyes on the roads, I will keep you navigating. I'm moving on straight to the riverbank this morning. Apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got a special service, all the others have got, as you know it, good service. The London Cable Car has got good service there as well. So the final segment of the travel update, that is the major roads in London. What has it got in stock for you? Well, Avanti West Coast has got a reduced timetable, so if you're embarking on any journey via that route, check it out. Now, Cross Country has got minor delays there as well. East Midlands Railways minor delays. But keep your eyes on the roads. Greater Anglia has got disruption between Wickford and Southminster, so if you're embarking on any journey there, check before you leave so you don't miss your appointment. The London North Western Railway has also got minor delays. Northern Rail, minor delays. And Scott Ray has got daily service changes, so check before you leave if you are listening to us in that part of the world. Now, Southwestern Railway has got revised timetable between Salisbury and Exeter and 7 disruptions, so check before you leave. Now keep your eyes on the road. Thameslink has got minor delays. First Transparent Express, minor delays and amended timetable there as well. Now Transport for Wales has this time around also got minor delays. That aside, West Midland Railways and all the others have got good service. So, as I will say it all the time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
From SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Exactly is happening, and I noticed that the Minister has been somewhat selective in who he will answer.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure. Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
In terms of seeing refugees fly away. For us as members to talk about people seeking refuge, people fleeing from war, persecution, is deeply beneath this house.
Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. If any of you is having a problem with a comment section on the program this morning, please get in touch and let us see what is going on there. Yes, get in touch. Let's see what is going on there as well. All right then. Okay, so now let's move on to the global trotting. This morning, telling you exactly what is happening from across the globe. Wow. In the UK, it's not good for the Prime Minister. It's not good for the Prime Minister at all. But somehow, she's still holding on there. And the question is, how long can she hold on with everything seemingly dropping around or falling around her? What do you think is going to be going on with her? We'll be bringing you more on that front as well. Mr. Yomi is going to be posting the comment comments there in a moment, but whilst we wait for him to be the story that we're going to be looking at, but whilst we wait for him, these are some of the headlines making the rounds in some of the media outlets in Nigeria. Ekiti Speaker dies of cardiac arrest. Governor Mon Tinubu appeases Demu with APC Presidential Campaign Council Deputy Chairman. Now, Wike gives reason why Governor Abia are denied CBN loans, and NSAS finds Mr. Macaroni to stage peaceful walk to honor victims of Lekki shooting. And the other story, APC blames rented crowd for disruption of PDP Kaduna rally. Ibadan Polytechnic expels students for alleged kidnap and robbery. Do you blame them? They stayed at home for all the while. So what do you think is happening there? Okay, a lot more going to be coming from there once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Is a Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Going on, Ghana shop traders shut down to protest soaring inflation, and Burkina coup leader to be sworn in as transition president on Friday. Well, we'll be following that story as well. It's quite an interesting one. Well, he's covered his face with is it a mask? That part of the world is hot as well, so I don't know why they keep on doing that, covering themselves. Well, maybe it's a bulletproof, who knows? Well, but it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Captain Smart arrests Akufo-Addo, begging to be overthrown at this point. Baka Vamao is saying Captain Smart's arrest, Akufo-Addo begging to be overthrown at this point. That's what Baka Vamao is saying. Well, why is he making that statement now? We're going to be looking more into it. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And still on some other stories making the rounds in Ghana. Yes, okay. Alex Mode, another order to produce former Maslow CEO in court. Well, did they bail him out, or did they get a surety for his bail, and therefore have to produce the individual in court? Well, a lot more going to be coming from there as well. Formulate policies that promote local production of goods. Professor Gatsi to government. So this and a lot more going to be coming your way from other parts of the world as well. Let me tell you what is happening. Ukraine power cut warning, charge everything. As Russians attack on Ukraine energy plants intensify, people are told to prepare for blackouts, and when it comes to winter in this part of the world, it is so much serious. I don't know what is going to happen. Under pressure, Putin doubles down with security decree. Now Vladimir Putin is tightening security across Russia with the introduction of different security levels. I was dragged into China's consulate, a protester says. Well, whoever dragged him there, what has been done? I know that the UK authorities are calling for him to be extradited. We don't know, or to be expelled from the country. What kind of lovely letters Berlusconi gives from Putin? What kind of when was that love letters going on? We'll be looking more into that in a moment. But here in the UK, crisis for trust deepens after days of chaos. The Prime Minister is under new pressure following the resignation of her Home Secretary and chaotic vote on fracking. Trust has 12 hours to turn things around. Tory MP is saying more Tory MPs break ranks to call for the Prime Minister to go as he seeks to reassert her authority. There's not a lot more going to be coming your way, but for now, stay tuned whilst I bring you this song. It is from the Better Revival Choir. It's one of their latest ones, and it's in Ewe, one of Ghana's languages, and it says Nyemaku, and that means I will not die. Nigeria will not happen to you wherever you are. I promise you that. So let's enjoy life, and let's trust that God, some way, somehow, will deal with us. Enjoy it. Stay tuned. Don't you go away whilst I bring you that music. And after that, we'll bring you Mr. Olayomi Koike.
One more person who loves to be in church and tell the person, I will not die, but I will live and declare the goodness of God. Amen. Say with me again, I will not die, but I will live. Help me sing, everybody sing. Declare the word of God, it shall come to pass.
Okay, that's the message for this morning. You will live and not die. So, yes, as we say here on this platform, may Nigeria never happen to you. So, wherever you are this morning, let me say a massive thank you very much for joining us on this platform. You can post your comments and everything there. And I promise you one thing for sure that we're going to share. And I'm going to read it out. So share the broadcast. We should be having Mr. Olayomi joining us in a moment. But as we say on this platform, may Nigeria not happen to you. And I hope Nigeria is not happening to each and every one of us. And this morning we are all well taken and good. Once again, welcome to the show. That's a nice piece from the Better Revival Choir. Say, Nyamaku, I will not die.
I can face tomorrow.
Okay, let's take a quick break and then we'll bring you Mr. Olayomi Koiki.
SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Ledasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clements, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
There's no real agreement on how to do that.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 8 minutes past 11 the time. Bear with me. I think I need some water. But hey, I've got the one and only the White Lion with me this morning in our North London studios, where he's going to be bringing you updates from Nigeria. Yomi, good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world, and welcome again to Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Exactly 8 minutes past, and I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. And good morning once again to those that have joined us on our sister platform. We're streaming on almost 5 different channels on the MixLR, on Instagram, and they're all waiting for all the update as usual from the one and only Mr. Archie, Frank, and myself.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Well, as usual, I woke up this morning, in the hope, excited as usual, and but sometimes the body is then a little bit tired, so I had to, literally go back to bed because I thought maybe I needed a little bit more sleep, and that took me back to bed. So, but I'm doing very well.
Good. I also had to go to bed after I did a dawn program production, and I was like, gosh, but well, we are here because we are happy to come and meet you, our lovely family. As I've said, yes, we love you all to bits. We share the same idea and principles, and therefore that's why we are able to come together. And somebody will ask you the question, so if somebody is put together or merged to become a family or a couple and it's not working, what do they do? Well, that's a question that everybody's keep on asking. What do you think? All right then. Updates from Nigeria. Mr. Olayomi Koikin at North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. Now let's quickly touch down on what happened on Niger Voices, because a few of our audience and our viewers were not on yesterday. But what was discussed?
Niger Voices, for the benefit of those that are probably not aware, comes up on Starr Radio UK every Wednesday from 6 p.m. up to 8:30 p.m. We discuss issues affecting Nigerians and the indigenous people. It's a program that gives us all the latest news, in details. And yesterday, we were looking into the education sector in Nigeria. Remember that a lot of the students have been away for more than 8 months, and the question is, asking them to resume back, and then straight away, having an exam next month. How visible is that someone that have been out of school for more than 8 months and then return back? It seems there's something skeptical about that the government is not really telling us. But we did discuss that. We focus back again on those issues that are still burning. As today, remember, is 2 years that the people that were campaigning, protesting, were eventually killed by the military, sent by the federal government, and likewise the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, not just only in Lagos, because we also have Oyigbo, that a lot of people got killed as well. So 2 years down the line, nothing has literally changed. We talked about Jumoke Oyeleke, and likewise, we went on to finish the program, with the right to protest, and also enlighten more people back home that it is your fundamental human right to say, if you don't want to be part of a country, it is not a crime, but it has to be done in a civilized and a legal way. Okay. Well, listeners, so that is what it is for you. Those of you who missed out on the Niger Voices yesterday, it comes your way every Wednesday at 18 hours BST or GMT +1. I mean, by the end of the month, we'll be going to GMT, so it will be 18 hours GMT. So it will be what that would be what time in Nigeria? Well, it's the same time at the moment with us. Yeah, okay. All right then. So listeners, that is for your benefit. All right then. So now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria. And first of all, NSAS procession will arrest participants if please. Now, interestingly, I was looking at that story and I was asking myself the question, so what? Are they not going to allow people to call it celebrate, allow people, please them nicely, let them just go about their demonstration? Because I know that people have are allowed under the constitution or democracy, this dispensation, to go and demonstrate. Now, are they saying that they're not going to allow people to demonstrate? Yummy. Well, demonstration is always a problem for the government of Nigeria, and it has always been like that, even during the military era. And you would thought that now that we are in a civilian era, it will be a little bit lenient because of the democracy that we have. But that doesn't seem so, because as Nigeria police deploy every personnel, to Lekki toll gate as celebrity, fast Mr. Macron and others gear up for the hashtag NSAS memorial possession. I could tell you literally that Lekki Tollgate is completely packed as we speak right now. I mean, I was watching, some of the feed coming from the, different media back in Nigeria, and as more Nigerians are still asking the question 2 years down the line, the outcome of whatever happened. But like I said right now, a lot of vehicles is driving past Lekki Tollgate, and it seems already, I could see some tear gas, and it looks like the Nigerian police are not giving any chance to protesters to gather around Lekki Tollgate. Let us remind, those that probably, will not be aware of the Lekki Tollgate. This was Nigerians, complaining about the brutality of the SARS, a special anti-robbery squad that has become a special anti-robbery to the Nigerian citizen, whether extorting their, their vehicles, collecting cash at the ATM, and eventually killing individuals and dumping their bodies away. So it got to a state that Nigerians were saying enough is enough, and they literally had to now, come up to say that we are not going to take that anymore. So eventually led to a lot of protests across different parts of Nigeria. But after almost, some time, the government thought, it was not worth allowing the protest to continue, and the one that was the pinpoint of the protest ground was eventually, brought down by the government, in the middle of the night, where people were killed, bodies were taken away, and that ended the NSAS saga, and that became a very bad image to the federal government, where almost every part of the world, people started making a lot of complaint. There was protests all over the world. In London here, we saw a couple of protests as well. But there was quite a lot of investigation. There was inquiries. It led to where the parliament had about over 100,000 petition signature that eventually had a sitting in London, where the parliament also revealed that the British government was also paying some kind of support, to help the the Nigerian police in a way, but eventually, down the line, nothing has changed. 2 years now today, NSAS memorial continue in Lagos State and across the state in Nigeria.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi, the NSAS. Let me acknowledge.
Hey, we lost the audio again.
Okay. We know the drill. We're going to go through the drill again. Okay, so just bear with us whilst Yomi does that. I don't know whether you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, he's going to be calling back. Okay. All right. I think we have him back on. Well, whilst I try to get the image on, Alonji says, good morning, my good people, Mr. Archie and Mr. Koike. Now, good morning to you, Alonji. We hope that you are doing very, very well. And I thank God Nigeria has not happened to you wherever you might be. But let's come back to the story that we're looking at 2 years on, the Lekki Tollgate shooting that took place. Now, first of all, we've talked about the fact that you are giving report there, looking at visual that is coming your way pertaining to police firing tear gas there. So that's right, just trying to disperse the protesters. Now, the commission of inquiry that was set up, that came out with a report, a white paper. Now, the report that came, what has been done and what has been said about it? Because I remember that whether the information minister, Laya Mohammed or one of them was saying that, whatever happened, nothing or nobody was killed. There were lots of this things that went on, but we thought that the Lagos governor was going to do something about it. Now, what has been done or said so far about it?
Well, that is the question in the minds of millions of Nigerians across the world. Exactly 2 years ago, the tragic event that set up the Lekki Tollgate in Lagos, aside as a historic memento of all sorts, a crowd of unharmed youth. And let me just give us a background of the kind of crowd that we saw during these almost couple of weeks and months. We're going to bring that image up in just about a few minutes. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We eventually saw this crowd that was asking and demanding that they want changes, reform. The government did everything, during that period to put those reforms out, but it was not satisfactory enough, to some of the youth. The youth called to the end of the police brutality. They advocate police reform. We remember that we were talking about police reform reorientation yesterday during the verdict of the Jumoke Oyeleke that the court, the magistrate Fadei actually asked the Lagos State government to advise the federal government of retraining, because you have to keep retraining the officers. But again, under the hashtag EndSARS, but after shooting, hoodlums also took part. But these are what the narratives that the government is putting out, that the hoodlums was also using that as a kind of messing around and locking down an important toll gate area. But it ended up to be a very bad blood one, because people were killed, bodies have not been found, families have been asking the federal government. The question you have asked is what has been the outcome of some of the inquiries, of this such of magnitude? But up to today, there has not been much, from the government, apart from the fact that, we saw inquiries taking place, recommendation has been done. But as we speak today, not much have been said, to the outcome of that, inquiries that was made, from the, those that were setting up the panel. But as Nigerians that wants to vote, because not every Nigerian is interested in 2023, especially those that are campaigning for the, self-determination. But it seems it's going to be a very challenging one now that, APC would have to face much of the, the consequence, because APC is currently in the power. And I'm not sure whether the youth are happy with the PDP, but it seems we've seen more side to the Labour Party, Peter Obi. So could this also be something, the Lekki Tollgate issue have an impact in the presidential election, as we can see in Nigeria? Because remember that, situation around the world always determines certain things that happen prior before election. We saw that here in UK as well. We've seen that around the world. And those in power get punished if you have done something that have really, really upset, the citizens. And one of the most important part of Nigeria in 2020 was the EndSARS. I mean, I remember, at about almost 7 p.m., I started receiving calls, from around the world that we need to go live. We need to start talking about it. That the Nigerian government is literally killing Nigerians. That we're holding the Nigerian flag. I mean, it has never been done, it has been done in the past. But to think about it, that in the 21st century, that the military will literally go to a protest ground and start killing Nigerians was something that has become a psychological effect to a lot of Nigerians back home.
And especially when some are still alluding that nobody was killed, and no families have come to claim that their family members have died. I mean, has there been any reaction from the military or who I suppose, or the security agencies from that incident as well? That statement.
Well, I mean, the security agency have denied continuously, that they have nothing to do with the EndSARS, and but as much as they've always said so, a lot of Nigerians disagree with that the mission there was not just to kill, but was also to stop something that will create fear, and that fear has gone ahead till then. I mean, the reason why even those that are saying that the Yorubas that wants to come out for a super rally, is that something that they we link to the EndSARS? Because that question was asked when Professor Akintoye was speaking to some of those Yoruba in about 2 weeks ago, regarding what we saw during the EndSARS. Are we going to see something similar to that? A lot of people are very, very concerned, but it is assured that whatever happened during the EndSARS is not expected to happen during these Yoruba Nations rally.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. 11:22 the time, quality 11:23, and it's Starr Radio UK, the morning show. Updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. Now, let's move on to some of the other stories. Yesterday, we had reports that para-athletes were also demonstrating, and the government, federal government, is accusing them of disrupting peace. So what have been done to them? Were they beaten up? Were they pushed? What happened to them?
Well, again, you wonder that those that are have a bit of disability challenges will be given a bit of sympathy, but not in Nigeria. The federal government through the sport ministry yesterday responded to a petition that was received by para athletics, cheating them from disturbing public peace. That's the way the federal government put it. The athletes are protested in Lagos, in Surulere. Again, I started receiving messages of tear gas being thrown at people with disability challenges. I mean, imagine the London Metropolitan Police putting out tear gas to those that have disability challenges. I could think of resignation happening this morning. But this is Africa, this is Nigeria, that lives is not as important. Just as Jumoke Oyeleke was killed by the military, by the security weapon, as concluded in that message we gave yesterday. The exclusion of their sport from the upcoming National Sport Festival is the reason why the para-athletics have come out to protest. They carried a placard and vowed to block all the federal roads and the National Stadium complex if the government failed to respond to their demand. Government is not going to respond to demand because government are always adamant, and the politicians and the government seems not to be caring about the citizens, as we've seen it continuously. But the 2022 NSF, the 21st edition that is scheduled to hold on the 28th of November to December 10 in Asaba in Delta State. But in response to their petition, the government described the protests as unfortunate and advised the athletes to channel their grievances appropriately instead of disturbing the public peace.
So what appropriate means? Are they expecting them to channel their grievances? Because when you go
once again,
we've lost the audio. Okay, listeners, just bear with us whilst we try to get the audio back on. Can you hear me now? Yomi, can you hear me?
It's not feeding back to me.
Okay. Let's go through the drill again. We apologize for the technical issues that is going on there. We'll be having Miss Olayomi Koiki calling us back. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 11:26. And there's a report of a young person, 15-year-old, who is missing in the UK, and it's very, very important for us because as a radio station, we do our best to make sure that we bring you every information pertaining to those of us in the diaspora and back home as well. So we're going to be, I'm just going to go straight to Yomi for him to tell us more about that story, and then how we can, or wherever you are, help in finding out this young girl. Yomi.
Yes, the report came to us yesterday of a missing Faith, last seen wearing a black tracksuit somewhere in Canning Town area here in London. She was last seen at about 3:30 p.m. She's age 15, height about 5'6". If anyone, or you've seen, if seen or you happen to know any information regarding Faith whereabouts, please contact the police straight away, or contact this following number: 074 822 66002. I repeat that number again: 074 822 66002 or 078 83247 again, missing Faith went missing, and this message, I believe, is something that is very, very important and concerned to a lot of us when we hear this news. It's not the first time that we get news of missing people. Some of them do come back, and some of them becomes a very sad story. So we pray, as Faith is missing, let us remember in the prayer to return back to the family that are waiting for her as quickly as possible. Once again, missing Faith was somewhere around Canning Town, which is southeast, east of London. If you've come across her, you've seen her. She was last seen wearing a black tracksuit at about 3:30 p.m. On the 18th, and that means that we are now about almost 48 hours that we have not seen Faith. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. If you have any information pertaining to missing Faith, please let us know, or let the numbers that Yomi put across, contact them, and it will be a great help. I know the police are doing their work, but we can, as a community, also help in that part as well. It is Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to some other stories, Yomi.
Well, some of the other stories, Shashore, the former Lagos Justice Commissioner, is charged for multi-million naira money laundering. He has hired first senior advocate of Nigeria to battle the anti-graft agency EFCC. Shashore is said to be arraigned before Justice Chukwuechukwu Annika of the Federal High Court in Lagos this Thursday. He's a former Attorney General and a Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, Mr. Olashukwu Shashore, who allegedly obtained $2 million from Process and Industrial Development Limited, a British Virgin Island engineer firm, to frustrate a case against Nigeria, has now hired first senior advocate of Nigeria to lead his defense. Shashore is set to be arraigned before the Justice Chukwuemeka at the Federal High Court Lagos later on today. According to the city lawyer leading the defense team of Shashore, is a law reform advocate, and meanwhile, a bail application showed that the legal team for the embattled senior lawyer would seek bail for personnel recognition for Shashore to allow him to go home. We'll wait and see what will be the outcome of this. Quite a lot of different situation in Nigeria, as we can always hope that justice will always be served. But when it comes to corruption, we do know that Nigeria is number one. And I remember David Cameron saying, during the one of the visit to UK by the president, that Nigeria is fantastically corrupt country, and the amount of money that has been moved out of Nigeria has been done so in Europe, like in UK, that would have shrink the whole economy. So let's take you back to just quick of the more other headline because of the time constraint already. Nigerian government goes to Supreme Court, appeal judgment freezing IPOB. That is the headline coming. Kogi government dragged Dangote Group to court over Obajana cement plant. It's coming from the headline as well, this morning. Again, NSAS memorial possession set to hold in Nigeria, UK, Canada, South Africa, and others. And I'm aware that people will be gathering at the Nigerian embassy at number 9 Northumberland later on this evening from about 6 p.m. And we'll be going to be following that as well. 2 years after NSAS protests, over 40 protesters are still languishing in the Nigerian prison. Well, it's not just that. In the last 3 years, we have been listening to people that are in the prison. Some of them have been there for 13 years and they've never faced any court system. And you wonder why somebody can be kept in the prison for more than 10 years without being brought to the court, to either, given a guilty sentence or not found guilty. But if you have somebody, then that means your case will be fast-tracked. But if you are nobody, you will remain in the prison cell. And quite a lot of people are reaching out to us that, even as much as they've committed a crime, they will still love to go and face the justice system to confirm they're innocent or they're guilty, rather than spending 10 years without no appearance at the court. So again, that is a very sad situation in Nigeria. So we're going to go straight to one more and then come back again to you, and then we're going to go back straight to this what is happening on the Twitter this morning. And once again, this is still your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Tinubu pacifies Adamu with campaign council deputy chairman. Flood 4,885 Ogun houses have now submerged. Federal government absolve Cameroon. The issue of flood that is now becoming a big problem. I mean, we have flood all over the world, but the one in Nigeria seems to be pinned between Cameroon and Nigeria. Let's take a look at what is happening. The federal government, through the Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Sulaiman Adamu, has said that the Lagodo Dam in Cameroon was not responsible for the flooding that has devastated part of Nigeria. This just as the government says no fewer than almost 5,000 houses were affected by the recent flooding alone in Ogun State, the southwest of Nigeria. Adamu made this known during 2023 budget defense of the ministry before the Senate in Abuja yesterday. The minister attributed the flood to water flowing from tributes of River Benue, like the River Castina and others, into River Benue due to downpour. So again, we pray for those that have died. 2 friends died together in Bayelsa, I think 2 days ago. And please, those of us that are still thinking that we can just go into the water with our Jeep, remember that this could not be something that you could joke with when it comes to fraud, because you could lose control and you could end up become a victim as well. As we can tell this morning, Lekki massacre, hashtag Lekki massacre is trending at again number 2. Hashtag NSAS Memorial 2 is trending as well. So that shows, the magnitude. Like I say, police shoot tear gas to disperse the youth at the NSAS Memorial, and again, it's going to be another kind of a reminder the brutality of the Nigerian police, as unable to manage protest ground as well. Again, the Yoruba Nation Club will say it has been 2 years that the Nigerian government disturbedly killed peaceful protesters while they sang the national anthem and waved the national flags. No justice, no peace. Hashtag Yoruba Ronu, hashtag NSAS Memorial, hashtag NSAS. With a picture of President Muhammadu Buhari that had a toothpick in his mouth, and that picture continued to trend as a president that cares less about his own citizens. Let's take a look at more as well. There was a letter that I received yesterday, and that letter, indicate that the British government would not support the breakup of Nigeria. I'm going to read that quickly, and then I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is exactly, the letter that came from the Nigerian unit, King Charles Street, London, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. Thank you for your letter of the 6th of July to the Prime Minister about the recognition of the Yoruba Nation. I am responding as a member of the Nigerian unit in the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. The UK government shares your concerns about incidents of intercommunal violence in Nigeria. Our assessment is that the key drivers for these are competition over land and natural resources, historically grievance and criminality. Religion can also be a factor. However, it is important to know that the perpetrators do not come from any one ethnic or religious group, and the devastating effects are felt by the communities of different faiths and ethnicities. The United States, the United Kingdom support local and national peace building initiatives to tackle intercommunal violence, including through our work with the Nigerian Governors Forum and the National Peace Committee. Finally, you call for the United Kingdom government to recognize an independent Yoruba nation. The UK respects the territorial integrity of Nigeria. We encourage dialogue between the many ethnic groups, communities that make up and contribute to the strength and diversity of Nigeria. The UK support and respect the Nigerian government commitment to work for a secure and prosperous Nigeria for all its citizens, and is committed to working with Nigeria in support of these objectives. And that is the message coming from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the Nigerian unit this morning, or rather yesterday, when we received a copy of this letter that was sent to us by one of our listeners. This is Starr Radio UK, and I'll now come back to you now in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Interestingly, I'm worried about.
We lost this audio again.
Oh gosh. Okay, listeners, just bear with us. I don't know what causes that. Let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. Let's go through the drill once again, please. My apologies for that. But two stories that I want us to quickly just discuss, and then we can bring the update to a close. That pertains to the Nigerian government that is going to the Supreme Court about is it IPOB? But I wanted to find out whether it's IPOB or Nnamdi Kanu's acquittal from by the appeals court. So Yomi, so the Nigerian government going to the Supreme Court, is it for Nnamdi Kanu or for the IPOB itself as a group?
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari government has appealed the judgment of the appeal court freeing the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, which is Nnamdi Kanu. So it is actually the federal government that is now going back, to the appeal court, to disagree with allowing Nnamdi Kanu to be set free. The government, in a motion for a stay of execution, yesterday has filed, at the nation's apex court, is asking the court to stop the execution of the appeal court judgment of October 13. The appeal court has acquitted the IPOB leader and bar any lower court from entertaining further charges against him. So it seems the only court that they can go back again now is the appeal court. So, we have to see what is going to happen now. In a 7-ground notice of appeal, which was filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. So you could say that the federal government is really adamant not to allow Nnamdi Kanu to be released. The federal government did not only falter the lower court decision, it also prayed that it should be set aside.
Well, interesting. We'll follow it very closely and we'll see what is going to go on. And then coming to the response from the Commonwealth as well, the Commonwealth Office, the Nigerian side. I'm looking at the case where we are seeing what is going on. But did they make any statement from that letter? I didn't hear that. But their concerns about let people have a referendum and let's see what they actually, the majority of people actually think or want. Did they say anything about that?
Well, that was not included in that letter. What they've actually specified in that letter that we just read is that these issues need to be resolved internally between the different ethnic groups. But how that is going to be resolved is a big question. But that is the view of the British Foreign and Commonwealth that was received yesterday.
But interestingly, you remember we had the Scottish who were allowed to have a referendum to decide that, well, they said they don't want to be part of it. Let's see whether majority of people wanted that, and they were allowed. We were in this country, we all saw it. Okay, though they lost, those who were advocating for an independent Scotland lost, but at least everybody knows that they were given the opportunity. Now, even was it last Monday we had the Scottish leader going back to the House of their Parliament to table another petition for another referendum. So what are they saying?
Well, that has always been, the view of a lot of those that are the self-determination. Whether a referendum will be given like in a Nigerian case, I'm not too sure whether we will get one, because the way the government has operated in the last couple of years. So in terms of a referendum, you'll definitely in as much as those countries, especially if we take the issue of the South Sudan, has led to a lot of debt onto the United Nations came in and then facilitated a referendum. A referendum will not be given in Nigeria by the government, but in terms of the United Nations will give one. But United Nations will not give one if there's no crisis and there's no pandemonium. They will have to wait until there's kind of pandemonium. But for those that are campaigning, they from the Biafra side, they've said it's either a referendum or no election. But from the Yorubas, they are saying that we're not even going to wait for any referendum. We will declare ourselves out of Nigeria and we will set up our own transition government. How all this is going to happen, we will all have to wait and see on Star Radio UK as those times are getting closer. So, so you can see there's two different sides out of it. Everybody knows, there's Ninas that is pushing, for the force majeure of the 1999 constitution that will lead to, either a new constitution that will work for everybody or a total dissolution of Nigeria. So there's three different groups operating on three different views of how they can, attain their self-determination. One is saying that, we will continue to engage, the international community, the Yorubas, and we will make a declaration out of Nigeria. The other is saying that if there is not going to be a referendum, we will not allow an election in the southeast. While those that are from the middle belt and those that are still following, whether from the Yoruba or the Biafra, onto the Ninas, believe that a force majeure will give us, what we want. Whether the federal government listens to all this is a different thing entirely, but the three are adamant that 2023 would not happen in their own territory.
But if the Yoruba nation makes that statement declaring their breakaway from Nigeria, wouldn't it be illegal under the constitution now?
Well, they are looking at it from the point that, this is a territory that belongs to that particular indigenous people. It has nothing to do with Nigeria, because Nigeria was a creation of the British government. And we've seen right now from the content of what the Foreign and Commonwealth is saying that, yes, there is issue when it comes to, the intercommunion. But the question is, do you discuss with a terrorist? Just as we saw yesterday, even though we didn't say that during the headline, yesterday 24 more people were killed in Benue State by the Fulani terrorists. So who do you really engage with? Do you engage with those that do not want peace, or do you go back to where it used to be before the colonial days? But these are the questions that the territory do not belong to Nigeria, in as much as Nigeria, was something that was put together, where 371. So it's a very, very tedious one, and this is why, those Yorubas wrote a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, gave him every reasons why they can have a peaceful conversation. The presidency refused to answer that, and that is what is allowing the Yoruba to move to the next line that they are prepared to do in terms of a peaceful super rally, and there will be a declaration that will happen as well.
Okay, listeners, we'll be following it very, very closely, but we hope that everything work along nicely. This Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. We'll go back to Yomi for what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
Well, just brief a little bit because we did talk about what is happening on the social media. So let me just touch on one or two this morning. Looking at Simon Ekpa, we are going to write a joint rejoinder to the school, whoever they are in that house, responding back to the letter from the Foreign and Commonwealth with both in writing form and during the election. That is coming, from Simon Ekpa as one of the, representative of the Biafra as well. Let's take a look at what more Nigerians are saying this morning, but the focus is all about the NSAS, which has literally gone past. The Financial Times is also saying it will be a major upset if a candidate from a small party won the contest for Nigerian presidency, given the strength of the country's established political party. But Peter Obi might do just that after exciting part of the delusion electorate. So it looks like Peter Obi is gaining the momentum, especially after a lot of Nigerians are angry. I'll take one more. Elochukwu said, Nigerian government ran to Supreme Court. Do not fear or worry, Biafrans. Nigerian government will be defeated right there in their Supreme Court. On that very day, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released and go home a free man. Write it down. It's coming up. Yesterday was exactly, I believe, if I'm right, that Delegiwa was killed, in a letter bomb that was sent, by the president, during the time he was alive. And yesterday, 19th of October, was a very sad one. The journalist died at the age of 39 during an explosion from a corrupt and illegal dealings that he was trying to investigate from the government. May he so rest in peace. So that is all we can take this morning because of the time constraint, but we'll be back again tomorrow. But for now, stay tuned more with Archie to take you to the rest of the program. My name is Olayomi, and I'll be back again tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Yomi, and have a wonderful day.
Bye for now.
Bye. Well, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi bringing you updates from Nigeria, from our North London studios. I'm actually here. I'm going to bring you some songs. It's not some song, a nice music, and then we'll continue with the show. This is in line with all of you who are fighting for a cause. But I want to know what you think about a statement from the Commonwealth. Their stance. How do you see it, and how do you think that is going to calm or flare up issues that is going on in Nigeria? Afolayan Olatunde says, good morning, sir. Your all over the world station is a voice of the people. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Afolayan, have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. But let's enjoy this song from the group. It's a Bob Marley's cover song. It says, get up, stand up for the right. Stand up for your right. What do you think? But I want you to comment on what the Commonwealth has said. I'll try to publish that in the next few moments so that we all know exactly. And ask yourself the question, are the Commonwealth in touch? Or are they actually seeing what is happening in Nigeria at the moment? And have they actually even tried to broker a peace there? When a letter from the Yoruba group was sent to the presidency and nothing, no response. I mean, virtually, like what Lestra said here. Oh, forget about them. Don't worry about the first minister in Scotland. He says she is an attention seeker. Are they trying to just say that, well, the Yoruba people are attention seekers? Or Professor Akintoye and Chief Sandego, are they attention seekers? But looking at the reality on the ground, what do you think? I want you to pass your comments on that one. But let's enjoy this tune and I'll be with you. Get up, stand up for your right.
UK.
What life is really worth is not all that glitters.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Never been told. Now will you see the light? So stand up for your rights. Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Most people think great God will come from the skies, take away everything and make everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, you will look for years on earth. Then now will you see the light? You stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up,
This is
stand
Starr
up.
Radio
UK.
Don't give up the fight. Life is your right. Get up, stand up. So we can't give up the fight. Stand up for your right. Lord, Lord, get up, stand up. Keep on struggling, no. Don't give up the fight. We're sick and tired of your useless kiss and game, and dying, go to heaven in a Jesus' name, Lord. We know when we understand the Almighty God is a living man. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Now will you see the light? We gonna stand up for our rights. So you better get up, stand up.
Well, now you've seen the light. You gotta stand up for your right. Now you have all the information pertaining to what is happening in your part of the world. You gotta stand up for the right. But Olayomi says, please, sir, Nigeria want to collect or take the rights from us, our rights from us. We, Yoruba Nation, will not agree with that. Thank you very much for that comment there. So we are standing up for our rights. Self-determination, Yoruba Nation. But as I did ask earlier on, what do you think about the statement that has been published, or the letter that has been issued by the Commonwealth Office, the Nigerian Commonwealth Office, pertaining to the stance of the Commonwealth? Is it the stance of UK? Well, UK is part of the Commonwealth, or we know that the King Charles III is the head of the Commonwealth, so that would be the thought of them. But do they actually know what exactly is happening on the ground? Let me know what you think about that.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up.
And what would the Supreme Court say pertaining to the appellant, or that is the federal government, saying that, well, they think that the quashing of all the charges against Nnamdi Kanu should not go on. I mean, it needs to be reinstated. Okay then, yes, a quick commercial break and I'll be with you. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So much going on when it comes to the UK politics. Let's trust or let's contrast. What do you think? All right then, I'll be bringing you more on that from. But let me say good morning to Pastor Emmanuel Chidi. Man of God, thank you very, very much for your support every time on all those platforms, and you are there supporting us. We are so grateful to you for that. Okay, now let's move on. Looking at some of the other stories, let me announce the lines open first, and then let's move on with that. Now, you want to join in the conversation this morning, or yes, it's still in the morning, got for about 4 minutes for the afternoon to start. Now, it's 0208-133-2257 or 58, 0208-133-2257 or 58. US or Canada, it's 001-718 303-2737 001-718-303-2737. You can text or WhatsApp at 075-3966-1744 075-3966-1744. Our Twitter handle is @Starr Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then. Now moving on straight to, but you can post your comments on all our social media platforms, and I promise you one thing for sure, I'm gonna read that. Okay? Yeah, to those of you who have done so, thank you very much, and continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones now. Okay. Now, Burkina coup leader is to be sworn in as a transition president tomorrow. So Burkina Faso's new strongman will be inaugurated president of the transition on Friday, October 21. The Constitutional Council announced on Wednesday, that was yesterday, October 19, as it made a formal note of the resignation of Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandogo Damiba. The coup leader, Captain Traoré, served as head of the junta since September 30 when he ousted Damiba. Now, the 34-year-old will become Burkina Faso's new leader according to the transition charter, which was adopted by the National Forum on October 14. Now, Traoré was unanimously named president of the transition, head of state, and supreme chief of the National Armed Forces by some 300 people tasked with charting the transition. I wanted to know the compilation of the 300 people or the makeup. The charter stipulates that the term of the president of the transition will end once the leader elected after the 2024 presidential race will be sworn in, adding that the president of the transition is not eligible for the upcoming election. Burkina has been grappling with a deadly jihadist insurgency. So what is he going to do about it? Will he be able to be the strong man as he is, be able to see to it that everything pans out perfectly as he thinks that he could do? Okay, and then moving on to some other stories. Conflict in Tigray, peace talks expected in South Africa on October 24. We hope and keeping fingers and everything crossed that will bring the peace that was brokered by the South African leader will bring about a peace in that part of the world. The African Union led peace talks to end a 2-year conflict in Ethiopia. Ethiopia's northern Tigray region is expected to take place in South Africa on October 24. Redwan Hussein, the National Security Advisor to the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, revealed the new date in a tweet on Thursday, October 30. That's today. The AU Commission has informed us that the peace talks are set for October 24 in South Africa. We have reconfirmed our commitment to participate, wrote Redwan Hussein, National Security Advisor to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The rebel authorities in the northern region of Tigray, which has been in armed conflict with the federal government since early November 2020, are yet to confirm their participation. After 5 months truce that raised hopes of negotiating large-scale fighting has resumed in northern Ethiopia since August 24. Now, previous talks convened in an early October by the AU in South Africa were eventually aborted, mainly due to organizational problems, according to diplomats. The United Nations, the United States, the European Union, and the AU have in recent days sounded the alarm over the intensification of fighting in Tigray, which has been caught in a pincer movement by the federal Ethiopian troops and its allies, notably the army of Eritrea, a country bordering Tigray. On Sunday, AU Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. So we hope that that is holding, so that people, all these some few people who are thinking this is what we want to do, and then they go on shooting, and at times, I don't blame people who feel that they are being marginalized. And I think that maybe we've made our case and people are not listening to us, and we have to stand up for ourselves, and they go on to do whatever they want to do, and then it all ends up in war, and people's lives are thrown apart, destroyed in that way. But what do you think? Well, I hope that peace talks holds, and then peace is restored in that part of the world. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, we were talking about this the other time. Ghana cedi is now the world's worst performing currency, as Kenya shillings also struggles. So the worst in the whole world, the worst performing currency is the Ghana cedi. So it's worse off than the Zimbabwe pounds or dollars. Which Zimbabwe, what do they use? Let me say good morning to it's good afternoon there to Mama Evelyn all the way in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is the first African country to approve injectable HIV prevention drugs. Wow, that's a good one there. Wow. Interesting. Let me bring you some details of that. Now, Zimbabwe has approved the use of long-acting injectable cabotegravir, the CAB-LA, as pre-exposure prophylaxis for HIV prevention, the first for Africa. According to the World Health Organization, the CAB-LA may be offered to people at substantial risk of HIV acquisition as part of comprehensive HIV prevention approaches. In most African countries, it includes sex workers, LGBTQI plus communities sidelined from access to healthcare because of laws and societal segregation. In June this year, the World Health Organization advised countries to take up the initiative after observing a surge in new HIV infection globally. HIV infection prevention efforts has stalled with 1.5 million new HIV infections in 2021, the same as in 2020. There were 4,000 new infections every day in 2021, with key populations, sex workers, men who have sex with men, people who inject drugs, people in prison, and transgender people and their sexual partners, accounting for 70% of HIV infections globally. World Organization said at the time. Now, research carried out revealed that Kabla injection every 2 months were safe, well tolerated, and highly effective in reducing the risk of HIV acquisition. That's a good one. Well, if you think that you are vulnerable in that way, then I bet you go get that on. What about that? So come your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So on the African front, let's go to Ghana. Now, shop closure. We are not making government unpopular. What traders are saying, and court to hear injunction against GFA October 25, and one arrested as illegal miners open fire on Musek. There are some stories making the rounds. Suicide, not the answer to current levels of hardship, Mahama advises. And I saw that video when a man decided to climb high tension poles and then got himself electrocuted and died. The NIB has released Captain Smart after Wednesday's arrest as well, when he alluded that the president was involved in the Galamsey menace that's going on in the country. This and a lot more going to be coming your way, and let me bring them your way now. Now, shoppers at Abosokan traders, there they trade in all those spare parts. There are spare part traders and a few other shops there as well. Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association has rejected assertion it is making the government unpopular with ongoing closures of shops to register their displeasure over the depreciation of the city and the high cost of doing business. Now, this follows allegation by the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Archie, that the decision by the Traders Association is a ploy to make government unpopular. Now, I just read the story or the news or the headline that Ghana city is the worst currency in the world. Worst in the world. By reacting to the Deputy Minister's statement, the Vice President of the Association, Richard Obeng, said that their decision to close shops was not influenced by politics. He said the action has been taken to ensure the government put in adequate measures to arrest the further depreciation of the city and also reduce the cost of doing business in the country. So the minister is trying to tell us that whatever challenges that we are facing right now, he doesn't see anything wrong. How much do we buy 1 gallon of petrol? We don't want to go into politics. We don't want to politicize this. We are speaking the truth, and the truth must be spoken. You will bear me witness how much petrol do you buy in a week. If it's not because of dollar, so we are talking about the way we can measure in place so that at the end of the day, the dollar will stabilize. If you are claiming that we are trying to make the government unpopular, that is not what we are doing. Well, they are looking at what is happening, the fire that is burning them, and saying that, look, you know what? I think it's about time that we take a stand. But government is saying, you know what? You people want to make us unpopular. But is it true that the city has fallen and is the last calo when it comes to currencies across the globe? How many countries do we have? And how many currencies? How many countries in Africa? How many countries in West Africa? Do we mean to say that the what do you call them, Burkina Faso's currency is stronger than the Ghana city? My goodness. Well, and people say that anything that is actually maligning government, no, or making government unpopular, well, I don't think so. $1 now sells for 13.7 Ghana cities, suffers more depreciation. So you see, this is a new one that is also coming on. Should the finance minister go? And if he goes, would that reassure or put a bit of confidence in the Ghana economy to actually arrest the city? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Okay. Let's continue to look at some of the other stories that is making the rounds, as I did say earlier on. In Ghana, the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court has fixed Tuesday, October 25, to hear the interlocutory injunction against the Ghana Football Association. Ashanti Gold Sports Club on September 28 this year filed an application for an interlocutory injunction to stop the 3 weeks old Ghana Premier League after they were demoted to the second division over a match fixing scandal. They were on October 14 allowed by the court to file their motion on notice to seek leave. In court on Thursday, that's today, Counsel for Ashanti Gold, Edward Sam Crabb, moved the motion for leave to file a supplementary affidavit in support of their interlocutory injunction. The lawyer for the GFA, Odofole Note, told the court that they have been served with the application, but they do not oppose the request. So let's see what the courts will do. Maybe this time, because it's football, maybe they rule. They'll get justice. Justice will be served. Let me take it that way. If it's the GFA or the Ashanti Gold Football Club, whichever it is, will receive the justice that they are looking out for. But it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on to some more stories from Ghana. Now, one man has been arrested as illegal miners open fire on music. Now, some illegal miners reportedly opened fire on Buakwa North Municipal Security Council, that's music, during anti-galamsey operation on Wednesday, October 19, 2022. Now, the music team led by the municipal chief executive Alhaji Umar Bodinga comprised the Tafo District Police Command Superintendent Isaac Ampofu and personnel from National Intelligence Bureau, the NIB, who stormed the illegal mining site upon intelligence. However, the illegal miners escaped before the arrival of the security team. While destroying tents and other facilities and equipment at the site, the illegal miners, who were hiding in a rubber plantation farm around, started firing guns. The illegal miners have destroyed about 20-acre cocoa farm and vegetation and diverted the Brim River. Interesting. What can we give to appease these individuals from continuing with this illegal mining? Adebanji Samuel Adesanya says, all we want is Yoruba Nation now. Okay, we'll be looking more into that. But it is Starr Radio UK, 12 minutes past the top of the hour. The morning show, the program. I am Archie. Now, let's quickly touch on one final story from the Ghana front. Well, last Saturday, when I was with a friend and then I was shown this video pertaining to somebody who was committing, who had it and went climbing a high tension line to commit suicide. And this, in reaction to that incident that happened, the former president John Dramani Mahama has said the current levels of hardship is dire, but suicide is not the answer to the situation. This was in reaction to the suicide report involving a trotro mate who got electrocuted and died instantly after climbing a 161,000 voltage pylon. A return from a trip to hear the sad news of Kakra, who killed himself by electrocution. The current levels of hardship in Ghana is dire and probably the worst we have ever experienced in the last 3 decades. But suicide is never the answer. Even in the darkest night, there will always come the dawn. Kofi Kakra climbed the Great Coal main line in Galilee, a suburb of Kaswa in the Wutusenya East District in the Central Region, and killed himself when he stepped on the high tension wires despite persuasion from bystanders and the police. Mr. Mahama, who was out of the country at the time of the incident, later wrote in a Facebook post on Wednesday, Even in the darkest night, there will always come the dawn. The sun will rise again. Let's be each other's keeper. Let's keep hope alive. And I seem to agree with him 110%. Because don't take your life. Don't take your life. I know things are tough. I know things are difficult. You said, you guys are living in this part of the world, so everything is rosy for you. No. We're also facing some challenges here. Yes, we are. Everybody is facing sort of a challenge. However, taking your life is not the way forward. But we know that one day, we will get what we are looking for. Okay? So it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's have a quick break, and once we come back, I'll bring you some other stories making the rounds. And this time round, one from the one radio presenter who was alluding that the president was also involved in the Galamsey, the illegal mining. Okay, let me bring that one. My producer said I should bring that one before we take the break. Then the National Investigation Bureau, have released Captain Smart after Wednesday's arrest. The story said Media General's Captain Smart has been released from custody of the National Intelligence Bureau. The broadcaster who has become a major critic of the Kufuor government was arrested on Wednesday afternoon after work and released at night. Information coming to us. As said, on October 17, 2022, government in a statement lashed at the broadcaster for accusing President Kufuor of being involved in illegal mining and calling his fight against the menace a sharp. In response to the content of a video published and circulated by the Onua TV on October 17, 2022, titled "Nanado is actively involved in Galamsey" and attributed to Captain Smart, the government statement condemned the claims made by the journalist, insisting the president had never been and is not involved in Galamsey. The content propagated in the video is false, malicious, and without basis. It is nothing but an act of unethical and irresponsible journalism. The video is intended to cause disaffection for government and undermine efforts to fight illegal mining in the country, said the statement. It further noted government is disquieted by the spread of disinformation and misinformation clothed under the pretext of journalistic discretion and free expression, saying this does not bode well for our democracy. The statement nonetheless concluded, we will continue to hold Media General in high esteem and urge them not to compromise their standards for validating information, ethical practice, and avoiding conjecture in presentation of facts. Well, let's see what happens. Now, if you're in a part of the world looking at everything that is going on, what do you think? How would you judge what is going on? Has the government failed in the fight against this menace? Well. It's a tough battle for the government. But, we wish them the best, right? It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's take a quick break, and we come back. We'll continue with the program. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
This is Starr Radio UK.
So be the money Saudi Arabia, Maura, my boss, so friend when you're
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, saints, call on your God to help you. Cover version of Amachide Day's tune, Sufre Winyame. If the will of God, somewhere, somehow, one day it's gonna be alright. I follow you, and Olatunde says, continent do want to hear people's voice, and we are saying democracy. This is not democracy. Okay, put your comments, and as I said, I will read them out. There's a lot of troubles here in the UK. I bet you the Prime Minister is calling on her God. But information coming through. More Tory MPs are calling on Liz Truss to quit as Labour. Keir Starmer says country needs general election. We'll be telling you more about that. But do you think that Liz Truss has lost control? Well, yesterday we had the Home Secretary also resigning or being sacked. Let me put it that way. And then she also came out with a scathing letter against the Prime Minister. That, well, we have made lots of mistakes, and do you think that we just staying on to say that, well, everything is going to sort out, Well, what do you think about all that? Details coming your way in the next moment. Don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, so that was Divox Ghana bringing you Super Winyami Call on Your God. If there's been a time that people have to call on their gods, or leaders have to call on their gods, and I think this is the time. This is the time for leaders to call on their gods. But let's quickly have a look at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, and I can take you straight to what is happening here in the UK. Now, Ukraine power cut warnings. Charge everything. That's the instruction that has been given. A Russian attack on Ukraine's energy plant has intensified. People are told to prepare for blackout. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. The information says Ukraine's national energy company has urged citizens to charge everything by 07 hours, that is 4 hours GMT. Thursday, because of expected power cuts caused by Russian missile strikes. Now, energy plants were hit by Russian missiles again on Wednesday, part of the wave of such strikes since 10 October. Now, outages of up to 4 hours at a time will affect the whole country on Thursday. Grid operator Ukraine has said. It comes as Russia declares martial law in areas of Ukraine it has annexed. Now, heightened security measures have also come into force in Russia, mostly areas along the Ukraine border, in preparation for the blackouts. Ukraine has appealed to Ukrainians to stock up with water and ensure they have warm socks and blankets and hugs for families and friends. Now, phones, power banks, torches, batteries need to be charged. It urged. As much as 40% of Ukraine's energy infrastructure has been seriously damaged, according to the Alexander Kachenko, an advisor to the energy minister. President Vladimir Zelensky said 3 energy facilities have been destroyed on Wednesday, and energy companies were preparing for all possible scenarios for winter. He was due to address a summit of EU leaders who were trying to reach an agreement on bringing down gas prices. Now, serious damage was reported to power facilities in Kyiv, in central Ukraine, and Bostin in the west. And Ukraine said there had been more attacks in the past 10 days than in the whole preceding period since Russia invasion on the 24th of February. Now, Ukraine said it will control the calculated consumption restrictions, and warned power cuts may occur throughout Ukraine from 07 hours to 22 hours. It advised citizens to check the regional network operators' website to see how it will apply to them. Now, sporadic power cuts have already affected parts of the capital, Kyiv, and many of Ukraine's regions. Now, Russian missiles have damaged infrastructure all across Ukraine, including cities like Lviv in the west, a long way from the fighting. Authorities have urged Ukrainians to reduce the power use in the evenings. We do not rule out that the onset of cold weather will ask for your help more often, Ukraine has said. Now, all this distraction that is going on, people who are going to be suffering because of ego, my goodness. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. Somebody will say that, well, not necessarily because of that, but let me know what you think about that. It is Starr Radio UK. You are allowed to do so. Share your take with us. That is the story that's making the rounds in this part of the world. Now, Trump deposed in rape accusers defamation lawsuit. Some of the stories making it around. And what's driving Biden's unusual focus on gas price? The U.S. president has exerted himself over fuel prices, though they are largely outside his control. So what is going to be happening there? And Amazon's Bezos on economy batten down hatches. Trump's Russia dossier source cleared of lying to FBI. Okay, those are some of the stories making the rounds there. And actress Wong, first Asian American on U.S. currency. Actor Wong. Okay, let me bring you this story pertaining to Trump's, and then we'll move on. The former U.S. President Donald Trump has answered questions under oath in a lawsuit brought against him by an advice columnist who says he raped her. E. Jean Carroll alleges the attack took place in a New York luxury department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. My goodness, for how long? Why now? Mr. Trump denied the claims and said Ms. Carroll was lying, prompting her to sue him for defamation. Ms. Carroll's attorney did not release details of the deposition, but said it took place on Wednesday. A civil trial in the case is scheduled for the 6th of February. We're pleased that on behalf of our client, E. Jean Carroll, we were able to take Donald Trump's deposition today, a spokesperson for law firm Kaplan, Hecker and Fink has said. We are not able to comment further. Mr. Trump's attorney, Alina Haber, said in a statement, as we have said all along, my client was pleased to set the record straight today. This case is nothing more than a political ploy like many others in the long list of witch hunts against Donald Trump. It is unclear what Mr. Trump said during the deposition or whether he spoke in person or remotely. According to CNN, he participated from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. In 2019, article for New York Magazine, Miss Carroll, a long-time advice columnist, said she had a chance encounter with Mr. Trump in late 1995 or early 1996 at a department store, Bergdorf Goodman. Well, didn't he? Let me leave it. Let the legal team debate on that one. But it's all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, okay, moving on straight to some other stories. Trying to okay. Indonesia bans syrup medicines after 99 child's death. Now it follows a cough syrup scandal in the Gambia, which has been linked to the deaths of nearly 70 children. Let me bring you that one. It's quite an interesting one. It comes just weeks after a cough syrup in the Gambia was linked to the deaths of nearly 70 children. Indonesia said some syrup medicines was found to contain ingredients linked to acute kidney injuries, which killed 99 young children this year. It is not clear if the medicine were imported or locally produced. On Thursday, Indonesian health officials said they had reported around 200 cases of AKI in children, most of who were aged under 5. Now, earlier this month, the World Organization issued a global alert over 4 cough syrups that were linked to the deaths of almost 70 children in the Gambia. The World Health Organization found the syrups used there, made by an Indian pharmaceutical company, contained unacceptable amounts of diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. The syrups have been potentially linked with acute kidney injuries, said the organization. Indonesia Health Minister on Thursday said the same chemical compounds were also found in some medicines used locally. Now, some syrups that were used by AKI child patients under 5 were proven to contain ethylene glycol and diethylene glycol that were not supposed to be there, or very little amount, said Budi Gunadi Sadikin. However, he did not disclose how many cases involved the toxic medicine. Indonesian authorities said The cough syrup used in the Gambia were not sold locally. One epidemiologist said the true death toll could even be higher than reported. When cases like this happen, what we know, the tip of the iceberg, which means there could be far more victims. Dickie Widiman, an epidemiologist from the Griffith University, said in Indonesia. Okay, we'll be following very closely, but if you're a parent, then you know that you don't have to go in for any of these medicines since they are a killer. Okay, one interesting one from Kenya. You remember that lawyer, Odinga's lawyer, who declared him president? Well, he has returned. He has returned to Kenya. I don't know why he didn't return when Odinga was the vice president. But the fiery lawyer has returned to Kenya. That's one of the stories that has come into our feed this morning, and I'm trying to see whether I can get some details of it, but it seems to be eluding me. Oh my. Okay, now Kenyan lawyer Migwana returned to the capital Nairobi on Thursday morning, 4 years after he was forcibly removed from the country. He was received by friends and relatives at Nairobi main airport after arriving from exile in Canada. In 2018, Kenyan officials argued that the lawyer, who holds dual Kenyan Canadian citizenship, was not a citizen, but Mr. Migwana said his deportation was political. Now the vocal lawyer vows and now enjoys the support of President William Ruto after falling out with SY ally opposition leader Raila Odinga. On arrival, he said President Ruto had invited him to attend the Heroes Day celebration, an annual event to honor independence heroes scheduled to be held later on Thursday at a park on the outskirts of the capital. In the quote, he said, "I'm very grateful for the warm welcome you have given me, and I am extremely happy to be back home. I extend my gratitude to all Kenyans who have stood with me," he told a crowd at the airport. Now, what has happened to me should never have happened to anyone else. A Kenyan-born citizen cannot be removed forcibly from their country and punished in a foreign land. Local television, NTV, has tweeted a clip of Mr. Mugana's arrival, and it's quite an interesting one in the airport. All right then, so now 12:37, 23 minutes to the top of the hour, and I bring you home here in the UK. What's happening in the UK today? Interesting. Now let me bring it from the back. Okay. Now, MPs are alleged bullying during a chaotic fracking vote yesterday night. Now, Conservative MPs were bullied and manhandled into backing Liz Truss in a vote on fracking, according to MPs who witnessed the scenes. Now, ministers denied claims physical force had been used to persuade colleagues to vote with the government, who won the vote by a majority of 96. But Labour MP Chris Bryant said what he saw was clear bullying. Now, House of Commons Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle said he had ordered an investigation into the incident. Sir Lindsay said he wanted members to treat each other with courtesy and respect. The confusion erupted on Wednesday evening after Labour brought a vote on whether MPs should get a say on the government fracking plans. Now, Conservative MPs were initially told the vote will be treated as a test of loyalty to the government, a motion of confidence, and if they did not oppose the Labour plan, they could get kicked out of parliamentary party. Now, Tory whips who were responsible for the discipline in the parliamentary party ordered their MPs to vote against the motion, but then just minutes before the vote, Climate Minister Graham Stewart rolled back on this at the dispatch box, where he suggested it was not a vote of confidence. Now, chaotic scenes in the voting lobby followed as whips tried to get Tory MPs to oppose the Labour motion. Now, there had been suggestions earlier that the chief whip, Wendy Morton, and her deputy had left their roles. However, the government has confirmed both MPs are staying in post. Now, when asked about allegations made by MPs, Business Secretary Jacob Rees-Mogg said that to characterize its a bullying was mistaken. Now, Mr. Bryant spoke in the House of Commons after Labour lost a vote on banning fracking despite a Tory rebellion. He said MPs should be able to vote without fear or favor, saying we want to stand up against bullying. Clarifying what he said he saw at last night's vote, Mr. Bryant said that it was very aggressive, very angry, describing it as clear bullying and intimidation. I saw a whole swath of MPs effectively pushing one member straight through the door. I've seen photographic evidence of one of the MPs hand on another, he said. Maybe he was just saying, oh, come on, go in and go and do that. So maybe that wasn't actually mishandling. What do you think? Well, this is a place where democracy works, the rule of law works. So somebody sees something, they say something will definitely be done about that. But what do you think? Well. It's all happening here in the UK. Now, interestingly, in our communities, we have this that happens, child abuse. Now, information coming through is saying that failing to report should be made illegal, a major inquiry has said. Anyone who works with children and does not report child sexual abuse should be prosecuted. The final report of a huge 7-year inquiry has recommended. It called the nature and scale of abuse in England and Wales horrific and deeply disturbing, with children threatened, beaten, and humiliated. The inquiry began in 2015 and has cost £186 million with evidence from 7,000 victims. The chairwoman, Professor Alexis J., described an epidemic that leaves thousands of victims in its poisonous wake. Now, Professor J said some victims will never recover from their experiences. Now, we heard time and time again how allegations of abuse were ignored, victims were blamed, and institutions prioritized their reputations over the protection of children, she said. She goes on further to say, we cannot simply file it away and consider it a historical aberration when so much of what we learn suggests it is an ever-growing problem exacerbated by current and future threats of the internet. Now, the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse was set up in the wake of the Jimmy Savile scandal by the then Home Secretary Theresa May. Hundreds of people came forward after the presenter's death in 2011 to say he had abused them as children. The public inquiry was given a broad remit to investigate historical allegations of child abuse dating back to the 1950s, as well as claims that authorities, including the police, failed to properly investigate these allegations. About 7,000 victims of abuse have provided testimonies, and 725 people gave evidence over 325 days of public hearing, contributing to 15 investigations and dozens of reports. The deviousness and cruelty of the perpetrators were limitless, says the report. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, yesterday we had the Home Secretary resigning, and some were thinking that seemed to be announcing the end of Liz Truss. But what do you think is happening there? And that's exactly what I'm going to be bringing your way. But I'll be bringing some details about Liz Truss' position seems untenable, a senior Tory MP has said. Now, Truss meeting Tory backbench chair as more MPs call for her to go. A serious, a sad, and how do I put it? But let's move on. Suella Braverman's resignation letter. Let me bring you some aspects of it. Suella Braverman has resigned as Home Secretary after sending an official document to a parliamentary colleague using her personal email. Here is a resignation letter in full. Now it said, Dear Prime Minister, it is with the greatest regret that I'm choosing to tender my resignation. Earlier today, I sent an official document from my personal email to a trusted parliamentary colleague as part of a policy engagement and with the aim of garnering support for government policy on migration. Now, this constitutes a technical infringement of the rules. As you know, the document was a draft written ministerial statement about migration due for publication imminently. Much of it had already been briefed to MPs. Nevertheless, it is right for me to go. As soon as I realized my mistake, I rapidly reported this on official channels and informed the Cabinet Secretary. As Home Secretary, I'd hold myself to the highest standards, and my resignation is the right thing to do. The business of government relies upon people accepting responsibilities for their mistakes, pretending we haven't made mistakes, carrying on as if everyone can see that we have made them, and hoping that things will magically come right is not serious politics. I have made a mistake. I accept responsibility. I resign. It is obvious to everyone that we are going through a tumultuous time. I have concerns about the direction of this government. Not only have we broken key pledges that we were promised to our voters, but I have had serious concerns about this government's commitment to honoring manifesto commitments such as reducing overall migration numbers and stopping illegal migration, particularly the dangerous small boats crossing. It has been a great honor to serve at the Home Office. In even the brief time that I have been there, it's been very clear that there is much to do in terms of delivering on the priorities of the British people. They deserve policing. They can respect an immigration policy they want and voted for in such unambiguous numbers of the last election, and laws which serve the public good and not the interests of selfish protesters. You know, she's one who is against protesters, and that's where she is coming from. I'm very grateful to all of my officials, special advisors, and ministerial team for all their help during the time as Home Secretary. I especially would like to pay tribute to the heroic policemen and women and all those who work at the border force and in our security services to oversee Operation Bridges. The largest policing operation in a generation was a great honor, and I am grateful to have had the opportunity to serve. I wish my successor good luck. Yours sincerely, Right Honorable Zuela Braverman, KC and MP. Okay. In response, Liz Truss said, thank you for your letter. I accept your resignation and I respect the decision you have made. It is important that ministerial code is upheld and that cabinet's confidentiality is respected. I'm grateful for your service as Home Secretary. Your time in office has been marked by your steadfast commitment to keeping the British people safe. You oversaw the largest ever ceremonial policing operation when thousands of officers were deployed from forces across the United Kingdom to ensure the safety of the royal family and all those who gathered in mourning for Her late Majesty the Queen. I am also grateful for your previous work as Attorney General and as my cabinet colleague, and in particular your work in the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill. I look forward to working with you in future and wish you all the best wishes, Liz Truss. And that's how that communication ended. So, do you think Liz Truss is finding herself in a serious trouble? But in replacement of Braverman, we have Grant Shapps, who was one outspoken, very gentlemanly. Maybe our paths have not crossed, but I know that he was the transport secretary at the time during Bojo's time. But he's taken over. But I think what can he do that would be better or different from what Braverman was doing? Now, Liz Truss' position seems untenable, and that is the next story or the last story I'm bringing your way. Now, Liz Truss' position as Prime Minister seems untenable, a senior backbencher Conservative MP has said. Miriam Cates, an executive member of the influential 1922 committee, said Ms. Starr's position does look difficult, if not impossible. Now, more than a dozen Tory MPs have openly called for Ms. Starr to resign after another chaotic day as leader. Now, Sir Graham Brady, who chairs the 1922 committee, is currently meeting the Prime Minister. The 1922 committee sets rules on how the Conservative Party elects its leaders and establishes whether the Prime Minister has the confidence of the party. Now, speaking earlier on, Ms. Cates said, "I think it seems as though her position is untenable now. Let's see what today holds. But from my point of view, it does seem like the confidence of MPs has been lost. I don't know how they will come back really." Now, earlier Transport Secretary Anne-Marie Trevelyan said the cabinet still have confidence in Ms. Truss, and that's what they do. Now, under current rules, Ms. Truss cannot be officially challenged in the first 12 months of her premiership, though the 1922 committee executive body could change this. So they change their rules as and when the game is going on. Well, yeah, so not, that is a penalty. No, that is a foul. That is a throw. Now, what about that? Her attempts to reassert her authority were torpedoed by the resignation of the Home Secretary, physical scenes after a Commons vote on Wednesday. There is also speculation the senior figures in the party could agree on a replacement for Ms. Truss, which would avoid the need for another Tory leadership contest or a general election. But the different factions in parties are split over who should take on the job. So far, 13 Conservative MPs have publicly called for the Prime Minister to resign. So what do you think? Prime Minister do meet 1922 committee chair quite regularly. What is different about this meeting is the climate it is happening in. Sir Graham Brady will know and understand the mood among Tory MPs. So the fact he is going to speak to Liz Truss is notable. The fact that the Prime Minister has allegedly requested the meeting could mean that she wants to understand the mood of the party, or that she had a message she had to deliver to him. We have to be careful with speculation. But a fractious mood has existed in the Tory party since the mini budget and was announced, and it has accelerated the past 24 hours. Where all this ends is the question that is on the lips of everyone today. And this, my friends, is where I'm bringing the program to a close. But a quick one, my producers have sent one other story, and this time around Stormont, that is from Northern Ireland. Now, it will take a miracle for an executive at Stormont to be restored by next week, as deadline as senior DUP politicians has said. Now, Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Heaton Harris has said he will call another election if power sharing has not returned by Friday, 28th of October. The electoral office has said that if an election is called, it will be expected to happen on 15th December. Now, Paul Givan, I was speaking after parties met the head of the Northern Ireland Civil Service. He said his party wanted to see the institutions back up and running, but it will not re-enter government until changes are made to the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Stormont executive has not fully functioned since February, when the Democratic Unionist Party pulled its first minister out of office in protest over the Northern Ireland Protocol. The last assembly election took place on the 5th of May and saw Sinn Féin returned as the largest party for the first time. And it's because of that I tell you that the DUP decided that we don't want to be part of it any longer, because it went against them, right? Now, after the May election, the DUP returned to the second largest party and refused to re-enter government, saying they will remain its position. They will remain its position until the UK government acted to change post-Brexit trade arrangement for Northern Ireland. Talks have resumed between the UK and EU, but there is no sign of an imminent deal. with Prime Minister Liz Truss's own future in perils as she fights to retain control of the Conservative Party. This is Star Radio UK, and this is where I bring the program to a close for today. It's been a pleasure coming your way, but let me bring you one tune, and after that we bring the program to a close. And this time around, a cover version of Kojo Entry's song Medofopa. Enjoy it, and I'll bring I come your way. Okay, just bear with me. Just bear with me whilst I get that done.
Solo 7.
Mira fupa unyum ne pwe. Mira fupa unyum ne pwe. Mira fupa unyum ne pwe. No. Ma sorry anapa. Ni won famille. Adoa fimano. Menya unka. Sema be mo boa. Asirechore. Wama wasiegumi. Menya wonde fufrobi. Oda ye won koma techem. Oda ye won koma shishishi. Oda ye won koma techem.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
Samsu sana winning bankasa Tintumbranie Abibini Mabibini Biba Usemrania Jimmy Su How do you way? Mid of football unium nepway Mid of football unium nepway Oh, only one midnight.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. The best radio show.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
rami tena